In the quietude of a fateful morning, a disheveled figure appeared at Alex's doorstep, a ghost from his past, reshuffling the deck of his life. Who was she, and what secrets did she carry that would turn Alex's world upside down? I never envisioned my life turning into a nightmare. I believe we were happy once. On our 10th anniversary, my wife, my love, ruined everything. She left me for another man in front of everyone. For years, I lived in pain and betrayal, obsessed by wrath and despair. Then she returned, devastated, distraught, and unwell. Her sweetheart turned abuser abandoned her with nothing. I welcomed her in, just to see her last collapse. I confronted the man who had destroyed us, gun in hand. I'm ready to terminate it all. All that remains is the echo of a ruined life in a hollowed-out heart. That Wednesday, I awoke to loud thumping. I rubbed my eyes and looked at the clock, 8:15 a.m. It kept continuing until I realized it was coming from my front door. Who on earth could be knocking that early? I got out of bed, threw on my robe and slippers, and went downstairs where the noise was considerably worse. Peeking out, I noticed a messy-looking lady on my doorstep, looking about. I opened the door, ready to tell her off, when the lady turned to face me. She appeared 10 years older than I had last seen her. She was thinner, her face was paler and wrinkled, her once nice hair was now grey and unkempt. She smelled awful and wore ugly, torn clothing. I might have assumed she was homeless if I had seen her on the street. "Lily," I exclaimed, astonished. "She used to be my wife." "Yeah, Alex, it's me." "Can I come inside?" she inquired, sounding desperate. "I am my carpenter, by the way," I replied, closing the door. She began knocking again, now crying, "Please, Alex, let me in." I opened the door so she would quit knocking, but I stood there so she couldn't enter. The people next door already think I am strange, I didn't need them to see this. "Why the hell are you here?" I said. 10 years ago, I didn't want to see you again. Did you not get that? And why come here? I thought you and your amazing doctor, Carter, resided in Milwaukee. Lily stepped back as I yelled, wiped her tears, and appeared very sorrowful. "Can I come inside? I'm quite hungry, exhausted, and need to use the restroom." "Please, I'll tell you why later," she urged, swaying slightly on her feet. As a teacher for years, I could tell she needed to pee. "Really terrible," I said angrily, "because we used to share this house." "Hurry up," I allowed her into the restrooms. Lily rushed inside and said thanks. She dropped her things and ran to the bathroom downstairs. I shut the door, walked upstairs, and then returned downstairs. She was still there, so I went to the kitchen, turned on my coffee maker, and made a cup of coffee. Lily had shown up by then. "Could I have some coffee, please?" she asked quietly. I gazed at her, quiet. A large part of me wanted to send her right back out, but I had never hit a lady and was not going to, regardless of how upset I was. Furthermore, it could land me in trouble. Yes, Lily's request for coffee annoyed me greatly, like she had nowhere else to go, but I'd let her in, despite everything. I was not going to be a bad host, so I gave in. "I am curious about her problems," I remarked. "There's nothing fancy for your coffee here. If you like, you can have just milk and sugar." Lily said softly, "Black's okay, thanks." I handed her the black coffee, watching her shaking hands as she drank. "Why are you here?" I asked. "I had nowhere else," she said. "I spent my last bit of money on the cab here." "What happened to your big love, Dr. Carter MC, who is the bad guy?" I asked, laughing. She did not look up. "We split," she mumbled. My laugh could pierce through thick wood. I noticed her flinch. No, we got married after the split. For a while, everything seemed fine. Then, 5 years later, Carter was hit with a massive bad doctor case that crushed him. Lily shed tears as she said, and then us. What do you both mean? I asked. I was his nurse, so I was also dragged into it. We were both fired from our jobs and were unable to work in healthcare in Wisconsin. We lost everything, including our house, cars, and savings. We moved to a small flat and could only find low-paying jobs. It was terrible. Then Carter became mean. He started blaming me, but it was all on him. I just did as he said. He yelled and hit me several times. He even kicked me hard. Then one day, I came home early and found him with a young girl from our building. So the cheater got cheated on, I snapped. I couldn't stop myself laughing at the payback. I remembered how she and her lover made a fool of me on our 10th year together. What goes around comes around. Think about that. It's not funny, Lily said in a small voice. I guess not, nor was it when you and Dr. Jerk made me the joke on our 10-year night. You didn't hit me, but you broke me in another way. That would have been less bad. Body wounds can get better, but mind scars, they stick. You didn't care back then, did you know? I said, cutting her off before she could say anything. You did not. So you know, I said, today is 10 years since that day. I didn't know, Lily said, low. Did you ever tell the cops about him? I asked, feeling a bit soft. No, too scared, but I did leave him. A friend from my college days who knows law helped me for free. In the end, I got almost nothing, just enough to get a bus here and pay for a taxi. I've not eaten in 2 days. What do you want from me? I asked. Feel sorry for you, you can find that in the book, Between Bad Words. I know you might hate me, Lily started, tears running down her face, but I cut her off. Yes, I do hate you as much as I once loved you, I said, sharp. You were my everything, but to you, I was just there till he came back. Now that everything's messed up, you come back to me. What about your folks and friends? They all left me. Lily cried. Well, that's no shock, I said, mean. Did you and he have kids? No, we didn't. Carter can't, she said, angry. He blamed me, she said. Well, at least there's no worry about your genes going forward, I said, harsh. So something good is there in all this mess, she looked crushed. What's happened to you, Alex? You were kind, caring, my anger grew, but I kept it in check. You want to know what happened? It's you. You did this. You killed my love, my trust. The good guy lost, I said, angry. I thought you'd find someone, move on, Lily whispered with big eyes. Move on? No way. After all this, you never showed me. I was just a fill-in for you. I thought we were strong together, but you tricked me. Good for 13 years, 10 of those as man and wife. Can you think I'd trust anyone after what you did? I took a breath before going on. And how many women would want to be with the broken man after his wife left him like that? Not that I'd let anyone try. I thought to myself, still, no one came forward in all these years. At least I didn't feel the sting anymore. So are you shocked I turned into a grumpy loner, healing up after all these years? I guess not, Lily said, looking down. And what do you want from me now? You think I'll let you stay and look after you till your next big love comes back? Dream on. I was hoping to stay just a bit, just till I'm on my feet again, she asked. There's a place for homeless downtown, I said. That's why I pay taxes, so people like you have somewhere to go. I tried there, but it was full, Lily said. the YWCA, and even that big church, but no luck. Please, Alex. I'll do whatever you need, cook, clean, anything. You can even. I felt sick at her last words and closed my mouth tight. She saw my angry look. What makes you think I'd want to touch you? To me, you're just poison. No chance I'd ever want you, I said firmly. Then a thought hit me. Did you try to? She hung her head low, tears hitting the table as she nodded yes. Look at me. No one wants me. I looked at her hard and said, mean, wow. How the strong have fallen. Then I should just go, maybe die in a ditch somewhere, Lily cried out. I'm no use to anyone. I saw her cry and sob like a balloon losing air. For a moment, I thought about kicking her out. My hate for her was deep. For 10 years, I lived off that hate, dreaming of how she could meet her end. I knew about working drunks with Lily and Dr. Bad. I was like a working hater, a quiet cellar or an old barn in the nowhere where only I could hear them yell. But seeing her like this now and Carter, the one who snatched her, simply to torture her, I hated him more. I was taught to never hit a woman. In my perspective, everybody who did received what they deserved. I let out a large, not happy breath. How about we eat first, then we see, I said, still crying. Okay, Lily looked at me and nodded, thanks. I'm very hungry, she sobbed. I can cook if you want, I said. No, you sit. I got this. I've been on my own for 10 years. It's my kitchen. I'll make scrambled eggs with bacon. Okay, that is wonderful, Alex. Thank you, I got up, ignored her, and prepared scrambled eggs with cheese, just like Lily did when we were together. Then I made plenty of bacon and toast. Her eyes shone when I handed her the dish. You put cheese in the eggs, she explained, just as I did. Thanks. You are welcome, I responded, not too softly. Now eat everything you want. I sat down and began eating, watching Lily delve into her food as if she were really hungry. She continued eating quickly, only pausing to grab some bacon or a slice of toast. She virtually cleared her platter with her tongue. That was delicious, Alex. Thanks, she said, when done. It's okay. Want more? I asked. No, thank you, but may I have some more coffee? Sure, I remarked, filling up her cup. She took a sip and set the cup down. Feeling better a bit. Food was very helpful. Good. You might want to take a shower, too. I said, you smell. Lily expressed sadness, sorry. I've been on the bus for days. May I use your shower? Go ahead. You know where it is. Towels are in the same position. And I put on my bathrobe afterwards, don't wear those filthy clothes again. You can wash them afterward. I assumed she'd departed for the shower. I assumed I'd need to clean the bathroom with a strong cleaner after she went in with her belongings. I tidied up our dining area and proceeded to prepare for the day. I remember Lily telling me she was leaving with Carter, whom she adored, and how it had broken my heart. We were together for 13 years and married for 10. I was crushed. And then she informed me that she had spent several years with him while he improved their lives, and things got worse. She decided to surprise me at our anniversary party, in front of everyone, and our friends were in on it. This made me angrier and more hateful than before. I felt like I should have died right then, which would have saved us all a lot of misery. It grew so severe that the dean of the school where I work basically told me I needed to visit a counselor. So I did. It did help. I could retain my calm and routine situations at school, but becoming close to someone? Nope. My psychotherapist advised me to write down all of my feelings. She hoped it would help me get the hatred and distrust out of my thoughts. It kind of worked, and I started getting along with people a little better. But what about the friends? Not really, just a cranky dude at work or the weird neighbor. That essay expanded into a large volume of 300 pages. My counselor felt it was great. She asked a friend to help me get it out there. A year later, it became a book. Didn't make the top charts, but sold enough to save some money for later. Names were changed, but the focus remained on how my wife had messed me up. Taking up martial arts was extremely beneficial to my mental health after being kicked out of 2 places for being overly aggressive. A retired Marine from the community center took me in. He didn't mind when I pretended to beat up my opponent, but he taught me that fighting with my emotions was a surefire way to get knocked down. I gradually learned how to transform my cold hard mind into the ability to hit hard. I eventually learned how to break stone blocks, but first, I had to get a lot of bruises. But I had not expected to see Lily again, and she didn't look good. It made me think she was very ill. I was also furious with Carter, the guy who had hurt her. I felt like I should simply send her away, but something made me pause and think, what if she dies out there? Can I handle it? I could end up feeling worse. So, what about the law? Could I get into trouble? I decided to ask for help and called my mother. "Morning, Alex," Mom said, picking up. "It's nice to hear from you. What's up? You want? Guess who showed up today?" I spoke directly to the point. "Who?" she inquired, sounding curious. "Lily," I said. Mom gasped in shock. "What's happening? Why is she there?" I told her about Lily and what she'd told me. "Mom, she looks really bad. I feel as if I should send her away. However, you would never forgive yourself if something bad happened to her." Cut in, "Mom, yes, I would not, and Carter has treated her badly," Mom said. "I guess she hurt you a lot, but maybe give her a chance to talk. How about this? I'll come over later when I'm finished here." I figured Mom could really help, maybe get Lily to talk more. So, I said yes, that sounds good, Mom. I really need your advice. "Okay, give me a bit, and I'll be there," I said. "Thanks, Mom. This means a lot." We hung up, and I went back to what I was doing. I put on a t-shirt and jeans, my usual summer outfit, and went down again. Lily had thrown her clothes in the wash and was in the living room wearing my old robe and some worn-out slippers. I wasn't sure what else she wore under that, and it didn't matter to me. Even with the robe tied around her, I saw dark spots on her legs. She smelled better but still looked sick. "You want more coffee?" I asked. "I'd love some," she said. I got her another coffee and sat with her. Her hand shook as she took a sip. "Thanks," she said softly. "I'll go when my clothes are dry," she said. "No hurry," I said. "But can you answer some things for me?" "Sure," Lily said, sounding glad to help. "You mentioned Carter got hit with a legal problem. Don't doctors have insurance for that?" He did, but one problem turned into many, then came bad claims. The insurance folks left him after that, even though most claims were shown to be false. He lost too much, and they didn't come back. "Most claims?" I asked. "So some were true?" "The ones not proven true got dropped for lack of proof," she said. "But the harm was done. We lost our jobs and couldn't work in our field anymore. No backup plans like for 01ks. Yeah, we had those. We lived off them for a year, lost a lot of money, but we had no choice. We were out of work for so long we needed it." "What's Carter doing now?" He's watching cars in a lot, earn about $16 an hour, Lily shared. I had to laugh at that, especially after Lily said he'd be a big deal in town. What are you going to do now? I asked. I was thinking of getting a job in a doctor's office. I can't be a nurse anymore, but I can still work, Lily said low. Hope it works out, I said. How are you going to get there and where are you going to stay? I'll get the bus or walk, she answered, sounding exhausted. I'll find a location. You need cash for all that. You mentioned you were broke. I am. So you thought I'd let you crash here and help you out until you're okay, right? It was a long shot, but yeah, Lily conceded. I realized you don't have to do anything for me, but I thought maybe after all I gave up in the divorce, you may want to be kind. I was so taken by that jerk. I didn't see how dumb I was to you. I get now. This was a bad idea to come here begging for aid. You're right. I don't know you anymore, she looked sad. But I sighed, but I'm not all evil. It's evident you need help. My mother will be visiting soon. She wants to talk to you before I make any decisions. Okay, Lily said, feeling a little better. I always liked your mother, and she loved you as if you were her own child, I added, and then I'm not sure why I added that, especially after what you did. Mom still loved you. Really? Lily appeared shocked. Yes, so you've got to be honest with her. You've got it. I received it, and Alex, yes, I said, thank you for this, Lily said, really, I mean it. Do not thank me yet, I said. Just then, I heard the doorbell. I peeked through the hole in the door, saw it was Mom, and welcomed her in with a great hug. Lily, wow, can you believe it has been 10 years, Mom commented as she noticed Lily wearing my old bathrobe. They exchanged hugs and kisses on the cheek. It's also nice to see you, Lorraine, Lily replied. Alex, dear, how about you let us ladies talk for a bit, Mom asked. I got the hint, she requested some alone time. So I walked into my office and closed the door. I started looking for information regarding Dr. Carter Williams and his big error. It took a while, but I discovered some information. Carter saw roughly 2,000 people in 4 years and told about 97% of them they had epilepsy. It turns out that some children suffered seizures for other reasons, such as a lack of sleep. Furthermore, Carter prescribed severe epilepsy medications with negative side effects and advised them to seek unnecessary procedures. Lily appears to have assisted him in doing so, according to numerous reports. Almost every child who came in was tested and informed they had epilepsy, even if they did not. According to one lawyer, Lily frequently informed her parents of the terrible news, and Carter agreed. Worse, the hospital had to return more than $300,000 because it built Medicaid wrong. It's no wonder they were dismissed. I assumed the state had taken away Carter and Lily's right to work as doctors. After a while, I leaned back, horrified by what I had read. Clearly, Carter was the main character, and Lily simply followed his example. I heard a knock and noticed Mom. I waved her in. She sat down next to me. What's happening? I asked. Lily, I believe, needs to see Dr. McGregor very soon, Mom claimed. Her expression was serious, which made me feel horrible inside. Terry McGregor has been our doctor for a long time, and Mom worked for him until she retired a few years ago. Why? I can't say for certain, but I've seen a lot of women with cancer. I believe she has it and should visit a doctor right away, Mom added. However, she had more to say. I know you and Lily do not get along, and I understand that, Mom added. Trust me, I do. But if she's unwell, we have to help. It's the correct thing to do. She offered me a faint sorrowful grin. I never claimed being a Christian was simple, did I? Plus, your father and I did not train you to be unconcerned. Correct, I made a face, smiled slightly, and shook my head. So she moved on. I phoned Dr. McGregor. He said he'd visit her today and run some tests. If they detect something, they will refer her to a specialist and assist her with Medicaid applications. She is getting ready, and I will drive her down. You cannot pay for it, Mom, I said. Here, take some money. I took out $2,100 bills and handed them to her. Thank you, Alex. You are a good kid. Thanks, I want to make this obvious. I am not doing this for her. I'm doing this because of how you raised me, and that doesn't imply everything is forgiven or that I am back with her. I spoke aggressively. I understand, Mom murmured softly. We didn't talk for a while. Did she say that Jackass Carter struck her? I inquired at last. Indeed, she did. Her features did not change, and her voice remained consistent. It took me off guard. I just nodded. Then that individual has to pay. I assumed we were quiet again. Please let me know if you find out anything, I mentioned. I will, Mom promised, kissing my forehead before exiting the office. I went outside and noticed Lily wearing a different clothing. The new garment was ancient, but it was cleaner than our previous one. Thank you for the food, she whispered softly. Not an issue, I said with a harsh tone. I held the door open as they exited, then locked it once their car had left. I got more coffee and headed to my workroom to look up Carter and Wisconsin's laws against spouse abuse. What I discovered did not help much. According to one website, the state is concerned about these charges, although they often only act if the incident occurred within the last 3 years. I had no idea when Carter hit Lily, but I suspected the cops would do little. I was quite skeptical. They couldn't take much from him, and if he's imprisoned, the state will have to pay for his medical care and meals in a crowded facility. At most, it could be community service if the law didn't make him pay. I might have to. But how upset, I turned off the computer, changed into gym clothes, and headed down to hit my new bike hard. I stated it to portray a difficult mountain path on a large screen. Lily wasn't the only person who had changed in 10 years. I was once lean but not strong. I was now aiming to work out hard at least 3 times per week after working out, which made me feel a lot better. I ate a light meal while watching the news. It was 3 p.m. Mom finally called. I started to worry about you too, I said as I picked up the phone. Mom's voice was tired as she said, we just left Dr. McGregor. I assume Lily wasn't present. How did it go? I asked. He's very worried about Lily. Mom mentioned that the tests were poor. He believed she may have advanced cervical cancer, but he wants another doctor, an oncologist, to say. I blurted out, thinking about all the money that indicates she's completed the Medicaid and state assistance paperwork. Mom mentioned she had a cancer appointment on Friday. Dr. McGregor fixed it up. He also stated that she is not eating well and believes she has been hurt by someone. We knew she was hurt. I said, and she admitted she hadn't eaten in days. Mom sighed. He thinks it's more than that. It is not simply food. She isn't getting all of the nutrients she requires from her food. I could tell she was stressed. Look, Alex, it's late, so I'm taking her out to lunch and then to Walmart to pick her some groceries. We'll take her suitcase if that's acceptable. I believe she should stay at my apartment. There's a lot to talk about, and she might be better comfortable talking to a woman. I agree, I said quickly. I'm happy not to have to deal with it. I will be here. Thank you for the update. I'll call you when we get back, Mom said. I love you, kiddo. I love you too, Mom. I remarked before hanging up. 3 hours later, she called again to say they were on their way. I opened the door when they arrived. Mom motioned me to the office, so we went as Lily gathered her belongings. Mom, I apologize for our lateness. It's okay. What up? We have a lot to do to get Lily ready for Friday. There's a lot to sort out. I know you don't want to disturb her, but she told me she still loves you and asked if I could raise my hand and shake my head quickly before she finished. No, Mom. I can't go back to seeing her, not even as friends. I could never forget how she lied and cheated on me for 13 years, making fun of me in front of everyone. That is not love, and I'm not going to take that path again. I will be kind for your sake, but that is all. My hearts are empty for her and everyone else, I suppose. I spoke with a bitter tone. I understand, Mom murmured softly. I only hoped. Yeah, you hoped. I could let go and start over. That possibility passed 10 years ago, I reminded her. But she believes she can put things right. Not happening. I cut in sharp. Wondering if my mental state was caused by the illness, plus I've changed a lot since she left me 10 years ago. True, have you? Mom expressed sadness in her voice. I miss the old you sometimes. You used to laugh and smile more. Will you come to supper on Friday? I will prepare something amazing, my favorite lasagna. I perked up. Indeed, she smiled as she spoke. I will be there. I promised. There's nothing like your lasagna to cheer me up. We hugged and headed into the living room where Lily was standing with her bags. Lily, who appeared fragile, added, I'll stay with your mom if that's okay. That's her call. I said as Mom gave me a look. Thank you for breakfast and for listening to me, Lily spoke. Her eyes were damp. No worries. I said with a slight nod. Don't miss Friday's dinner, Mom chimed in. Not that she had to arrive by 6:30. Count on it. I said. The following few days kept me on my toes. Even though school was out, I had things to organize, new lessons to review, plans must be approved. In addition, there's the house and yard to maintain. It took my mind off Lily, who was probably in good hands. Mom had a talent for overcoming obstacles that others struggled with. She was the best nurse and medical billing specialist around. Finally, it was Friday. I left my house after a warm shower, grabbed a bottle of wine for Mom's lasagna night, and arrived at their place at 6:15. Lily opened the door. She looked like she was crying, but I said nothing. Thanks, I said, walking in and heading to the kitchen. Seeing me, Mom's face lit up at the sight of the wine. I set it down and gave her a big hug. We all sat and ate the delicious lasagna. Lily seemed very upset. So how was today? I asked after a while. We got Lily's form approved. Mom mentioned this new internet thing made it simple. I wish it was available when I stopped working. I could tell she was trying to sound upbeat. Lily's medical bills will be paid for. I asked, feeling a little better. Yeah, and she will receive a small sum of money each month. It's not a lot, but she won't need much here, Mom said. They'll also chase down Carter for the money he owes if they can find him. I thought but said, that's good. Then I asked, and the cancer? Dr. Lily looked sad, and Mom's face changed. I braced myself for bad news. They said her cancer is very bad, Mom let out. It spread all over, even to her arms and legs, but they can do something, right? I asked, feeling a mix of things. Maybe, Mom said, looking at Lily for okay to go on. Lily nodded, a tear rolling down. They'll try but can't be. Sure. If only they found it a few years earlier. She's been sick for that long. I was shocked. The docs think it's been for years, Lily spoke softly. If they found out sooner, I had a 90% chance to live, now it's just 19%. That's awful. Did Carter see anything odd? I tried not to call him names, keeping it clean for Mom's sake. I'm not sure. He never said. We were going through a rough time, Lily said. I saw some signs, thought it was stress. Didn't want to stress Carter out more. What signs? I asked. It hurt when we were close. Lily said, a bit shy to talk about her private moments with Carter. It was so awful we quit. Glad she didn't go into details. Mom jumped in, there's new medications they can try. The doctor thinks it might enhance her chances by 10 or 15%. It's something. So what's next? I asked Lily. I can fight or give up. I choose to fight. I'm not done yet. My ex-wife responded, displaying some spirit. I have things I want to do before I go. I didn't ask what stuff. How long will this treatment take? I asked Mom. About a year, perhaps more, she answered. I expected it would be a year. Everything may happen in a year. Can I last that long? Lily will stay with you the entire time, I inquired, making it obvious that I did not want her at my home. Yes, it is excellent, even though I'm retired. I know how to care for her and who to contact if things get worse. Mom explained, I suppose that works. I said, not very happy but agreeing. Can you handle this? Mom questioned me. I gazed at Lily, thinking about what Mom had said. I used to be willing to do everything for Lily, but then I remembered how she left me for Carter in front of everyone. Lily noticed my face shift. I understand you don't believe me, but she tried to convey. That's putting it lightly. I cut in, this is how it is. If you hurt my mother or do something nasty, believe me, I will put you out on the street, sick or not. Got it? Lily replied quietly. Yes, I understand. There are tears in her eyes. She gazed down as the tears fell. We do not need to say stuff like that. Mom said, let me clean up and get some sweets for us. I can help. I said, but Mom did not want it. No need, son, she responded sharply. Then she exhaled. You two should speak alone. Lily gave me another look after Mom had departed. She wiped her face and replied. I started your book. It's really good. Was I that terrible to you? I have the entire event on tape. I told her I had someone film the party. We caught it all. Others did the same with their phones and gave me the clips. No. Lily sounded quite upset. I watched those clips several times to make sure I caught everything that transpired. It is all in the book. I still have those. Want to see? I asked. I tried to sound calm. But I knew my expression was chilly. No, I don't need to see. Lily, he swiftly said. After reading it, I can understand why you are upset with me. I don't like what I did either. You didn't think that was it. You did not think. Worse, you didn't care. I said. I'm mad every time I close my eyes. I see you and Carter making a joke of me. Crushing my heart like a bug that must die. For years. I imagined a million different methods to terminate the two of you. Each one more wicked and terrible than the last. Lily burst into tears at those remarks, looking shocked. But I had more to say. It is all in the book. After your family and friends treated you poorly, I began to despise everyone. They all told me to get over it, Go on and be happy for you. I said no way. It is easy for them to say. They were not the ones betrayed and cast down like trash by the one they cared the most about. I came to a point where I despised everyone around me. Mr. Smith, my school principal, insisted that I consult a counselor. Fortunately, he did. I was about to make a bad decision. She instructed me to write down my sentiments, which I did. That book is what came out. Yolanda also advised you to be active. Remember, Mom said she'd be back with an apple pie. She must have been listening and felt things were becoming too heated. Is that why you're so fit today? Lily inquired, quickly wiping away her tears with her napkin and changing the subject. I've never seen you so strong before. Thanks, yes. That's why I started martial arts and joined a gym. It was very helpful. Lily observed. But you're still mad. Even after so much time. He's a lot better now than before. Believe me, Mom said. 2 years ago, you would not have made it through the door. At least not standing head first, she said. Perhaps I should apologize, Alex. I actually am. I knew it would hurt, but I didn't realize it would break you so badly. That's why I left you with everything in the divorce. I thought it might help you move on. When you didn't fight it, I thought you'd be fine, Lily said. My lawyer was taken aback when he saw your paper. He told me to sign it quickly before you changed your mind. I asked, have you been with anyone else? Lily asked, unsure. Not much, I said, sharp. Just a few. One-night events. I don't even know their names. My mother's face was shocked and she looked angry, but she remained silent. I knew I'd hear about it later, but I didn't care right now. Lily said, my God, I'm not sure what to say. Sorry just doesn't cut it. Nope, it doesn't. We ate our pie without talking, but I could see Lily was hurt. I didn't want to see how my mom looked. After we were done, we said bye and Mom came to the door with me. I made sure Lily couldn't hear us. You think this is the right move, Mom? I asked, what about our folks? Can they do something? I called them. They moved to Florida and didn't want to talk. Her sister was the same. Are we going to help her? I asked. Nope, nothing. Mom said low, she's all alone. Alex, nothing. That's one messed up family, I said. Then I looked at her. Even when I was a lost cause, you didn't leave me. You picked me up when I fell. You and Dad always said family sticks together. Can't argue with that, Mom said, a tear in her eye. How's it looking for Lily? Really? I asked. Serious, Mom looked back at Lily before speaking. I don't really know, Alex. They've gotten better at fixing things since I stopped nursing. I did paperwork more at the end, but I've seen folks in better shape pass and I've seen folks in worse shape pull through. It's difficult to say. We only have to wait. Her face relaxed. It is about wanting to keep going, to have a reason to. I didn't listen, Mom. I'm terrified for you. What if she pulls anything while you're not looking? I understand why you're cautious and thank you for your concern, but I don't see the need in worrying. She has nothing, nobody, but those with nothing has something to lose. I told them to simply be safe. If you need me, please call. I will. Mom responded, but don't worry. I hope you're correct, I replied. Thank you for the lunch. I'll call soon. Love you. I love you too, kid. She responded with a kiss on my cheek and please, I understand you can't stand her right now, and I understand it, but she is hanging by a thread. Keep a lid on it for her. I will try, Mom. I let out a deep sigh, feeling both sad and worried. Please do that for me, and I promise not to play Cupid. Thanks, I said, cracking a small smile before taking off. Time flew by in the following 2 months. I was busy fixing up the house and preparing for the new school year, which began at the end of August. I had planned to take a week off before starting school. Every Friday, I would eat dinner at Mom's. Lily's cancer treatment made her weaker, and I noticed. I thought treatments were supposed to heal, but it appears that not all of them have. By mid-August, her hair was completely gone, and she was wearing a cool bamboo cap. I still felt the same way about her, but I was nicer to her, which made her happier. That was mainly to assuage Mom's concerns. Lily started receiving money from Carter's checks. Lily had opened a local bank account, and her mother ensured that the money was deposited. Lily asked her mother to keep some of it for food and light bills. Her mother took 10% and saved it in the hope that it would be useful later. Most on the last Friday before school began again, I drove over to Mom's house as I always do and noticed an old beat-up Toyota parked out front with Wisconsin tags. A bad feeling overtook me. I parked and walked in. Mom sat on the sofa. Lily was sitting in a chair with a blanket, and I heard sounds from the kitchen. Then I noticed Mom's phone in her hand and hoped she had called for help. Both appeared terrified, and I knew why. Carter walked in from the kitchen holding a drink and half a sandwich. A part of me, the one I keep in check, felt a deep anger rise. Carter was tall but not as sharp as before. His hair was a mess, and he needed to shave. He wasn't as fit and was dressed in filthy clothing. Carter sneered. My disdain for him was quite strong. I'd never fought in real life, but I'd learned in martial arts to avoid fighting if possible because winning might still bring problems. "What do you want, Carter?" I asked, trying to remain calm. "I want the money that she took from me," he barked. "I thought you were meant to give a portion of your wages as support," I said. My voice was calm, but my eyes could have appeared piercing and cold. "It's the same for me. They took my money, and I'm about to lose my home since I can't pay." Carter spewed, "All thanks to her. Did you have enough funds to drive here from Milwaukee?" I said back. "You could have used that to pay your rent. Don't begin with me, wise person. Perhaps I should just beat you up because I wanted to 10 years ago. She was the only reason I didn't. She made me play nice. You have watched after her for a long time. How about you just leave now, and we pretend this never happened?" I advised, slowly raising my hands to prevent something horrible from happening. It also prepared me for a few self-defense skills. But he might not notice that Lily is unwell. She has cancer and needs all the aid she can get. "Cancer, really? Or is this another lie?" Carter inquired. He set his drink and food down and then reached behind him. His hand returned bearing a short gun. "Looks like I've got the ideal solution right here," he said, pointing the rifle at Lily. "Don't do this, Carter," Mom said, pointing to her phone on the table. The 911 call remained open. "Please, I contacted the cops, and they are on their way right now. Alex is correct. Go immediately, and we will drop it." I went to be in front of Carter and Lily, but he pointed the rifle at me. His eyes were wild while he spoke. I had to think quickly. "I've been through too much to let it end with a cop's misstep," I said. "Do not move," I instructed. "Stay still." Carter snapped, his hand shaking. Then we noticed a burst of red and blue lights outside and heard a voice through a speaker. "Hello, Mr. Williams, this is the police. You are encircled. Drop the gun and exit with your hands up." The cop spoke loudly. "You should listen," I told Carter, who appeared terrified. "How do they know about my gun?" Carter inquired. "I told them I noticed it in your pants," Mom said. And Alex is correct. You should listen. Mr. Williams, this is your last chance. Drop the gun and get out, the officer spoke again, this time louder. Carter glanced at us with fear. We looked back. I noticed he was ready to give up. You'd be wise to listen, I said. They will not ask again. Then the back door opened, and 2 cops entered, guns ready. Put it down, an officer yelled. Carter turned and was surprised to see the cops. He attempted to use his gun, but the cops fired first. He was struck and fell down. When he collapsed, his rifle discharged. I heard Lily scream. I looked to see she had been hit near her shoulder. More cops arrived after hearing the shots. Mom hurried to Lily with an old cloth and attempted to stop the bleeding. I wasn't sure what to do. I just stood there in shock. A cop called for assistance. Another person assisted Mom with Lily. The first 2 examined Carter and shook their heads. He was gone. My hands were shaking. A part of me wanted to yell, "The bad person is gone," while another half was upset because it was moving too quickly and it wasn't by my hand. Mom approached me, and I held her tightly. She was shaking a lot like me. The other cops were assisting Lily. I told one cop what happened when an ambulance and detective arrived with a team to investigate the murder site. The detective took our words as one of the medics noticed Carter was dead. They placed him in a black bag, and 2 more people assisted Lily into the ambulance. I'm going with her, Mom announced. However, the medic informed her that there was no space and she should follow them. Can you ride with me? I said. The detective informed us that the house was now a crime scene and we had to leave. He'd lock up and maybe phone us later. He handed Mom a card for a cleaning crew. She took it without really seeing it, and we drove to my car. As we drove to the hospital, I felt confused, glad the bad man was gone, but disappointed I wasn't the one, and I felt awful for Lily, hoping she was okay. We arrived at the hospital and proceeded to the emergency room. Lily was scheduled for surgery, they told us. We had a disagreement about who was family until Mom showed them the proper paperwork, and they brought us to wait. We sat for quite a while, then a doctor emerged. Mrs. Carpenter, he explained. Yes, Mom responded. How is Lily doing? Mrs. Williams is okay today and improving. The doctor believes she will survive the gunshot wound. The bullet went straight through. I missed all of the important details inside. Fortunately, the doctor clarified, a little to the left, and it would be a no-go. Thank God, Mom let out. She did lose a lot of blood and was sick with cancer, and chemo did not help, none. We noticed something else, so we called her cancer doctor. He explained, "What is that?" Mom asked. Even with chemotherapy, we believe she is developing an infection. We're testing her again just to be sure. That is scary, Mom gave a gasp. Will she pull through? It's too early to tell. She's out cold now. We will keep her here for at least 3 days. Can we see her? Mom hoped not till tomorrow at the most. Here's a postcard. Call this number at any time to get an update on how she is doing. He mentioned, handing Mom a card with heavy hearts. We drove back to Mom's house in silence. Mom cried most of the way. I couldn't help but imagine Lily now lying in a hospital bed, battling for her life. I felt a strange combination of relief and guilt, trying not to focus on those ideas. Back at Mom's, the crime scene tape had been ripped and was fluttering in the garbage. According to the message on the door, the detective had finished his work and handed over the key to the neighbor. Mom started cleaning up immediately away. I picked up Lily's broken chair and planned to trash it when I returned. Mom was mopping the floor with Lily's blood, her tears mixed with the water from the bucket. Can I do anything to help? I was silent for a moment before asking. No, but thanks, she said without looking up. I have dealt with worse. Do you want to crash at my place tonight? I knew Mom was tough, but everyone has a breaking point. No need, she answered, wiping sweat from her brow. I got to stay in case the hospital called. I thought about it, shook my head. Then I too am staying. She looked at me, her words were you. Don't have to, Alex, but her face conveyed gratitude. I want to if you insist on cleaning by yourself. I will prepare something to eat. Do wine, bacon, and eggs sound good? We can use it after today. I attempted to smile. She gave a small response. Let us see. She returned to her cleaning with renewed vigor. However, despite concerns about bad dreams, we slept deeply. The next morning, we were quiet until the phone rang around 10 o'clock. I went into the kitchen to give her space. She entered after 5 minutes. Lily is still in a bad spot, but it isn't getting worse. She's taking a lot of tests and should be back in her room by the afternoon. I just nodded, feeling empty and confused. Could you drive me later? She broke into my thoughts. Yeah, no problem. I said, when can we aim for 2:30? Have you got it? I said, I left early to dispose of an old chair, completed some tasks and then arrived at Mom's place. We then headed to the hospital. We followed the signs to Lily's room. We went to the hospital shop to get a card. I knew Lily preferred a base of white flowers and a book by Agatha Christie, the same one she was into before. She chose Carter over me. Mom gave me a look as I paid. What? I said, a bit mad. It's nothing, Mom said, shaking her head. I felt my cheeks get hot. Don't start thinking things, I told her. You do care about her, right? Mom asked. No, not really. I just thought this might make her feel a bit better, that's all. I made sure the cashier gave me the right change back. Sure, Mom said in that Mom way. She tapped my arm. And Alex, not caring at all is the real opposite of love, not hate. When hate goes away, all that big feeling has to go somewhere, and it's okay to still have good feelings for who you thought she was. Also, your secret's safe. Next, we went to Lily's room. She was up but looked very tired. Mom gave her a cheek kiss and handed her the card. We got her eyes shown when I showed her the flowers. My favorites, you remembered, she said, sounding shocked. Her voice was weak but happy. Yeah, I said, and gave her the book. You were reading this when you went with Carter? I said, trying to keep my cool, though I felt a bit upset inside. Yes, I was, and I never finished it. Thanks, she said in a low voice. Not looking at me and flipping through the book. Any news? Mom asked. Not yet, Lily said, shaking her head. She closed the book but held onto it tight like a stuffed toy. They said it might take at least a day to know. That's usual. Mom said then, using her nurse voice. How are you feeling? Awful, Lily said with a groan. I'm so tired, my whole side hurts, and my belly aches. They'll sort it out, Mom said to her, trying to calm her down. What about Carter? Lily asked, not turning to look at me. He was gone, right there, Mom told her. Good, Lily said with a bit of strength. I'm happy he's gone. I saw a shadow cross Mom's face, but she didn't speak. She just touched Lily's hand and nodded. I kept quiet as the two talked. Part of me felt okay knowing my ex-wife was done with Carter. It helped ease some of the anger I had, but it couldn't fix the last 10 years. A nurse came in and checked Lily. You need your meds now, Mrs. Williams, the nurse said, giving Lily some pills. Lily took them with water. How are you feeling? So tired, Lily let out, and please call me Lily. I can't ignore what happened, but I'll try to move past it. You could hear how worn out she was, but she still tried to sound hopeful. "I'll let everyone know," the nurse said with a smile. "Maybe you should rest now," she suggested, hinting it was time for us to leave. "When will we get the test results?" Mom asked her. "Dr. Samuels is talking over with her cancer doctor, so by tomorrow morning we should know." The nurse answered, "We have your number and you have ours." We said bye and I saw Lily look at me longing before we left. I managed a small smile before shutting the door. I dropped Mom off and then went home to finish my weekend tasks. We met again in Lily's hospital room the next day. Mom, who helps at the hospital now and then, got there before me. Soon after I arrived, 2 doctors walked in. I met Dr. Samuels, the doctor who did surgery on Lily, met Dr. Kincaid, Lily's cancer doctor. They attempted to look sure of themselves and tough, but I could see they were worried. "So what's going on?" I asked, hoping for some kind of good news despite how they looked. Dr. Kincaid spoke up first. "Well, the trouble is, Miss Williams is battling with bad gut inflammation and small pouches in her intestines that are infected, which makes sense of the problems you've told us about, Mrs. Carpenter." Dr. Samuels proceeded, "Our scan showed significant regions of illness in Lily's belly, also her gallbladder has holes and needs to be put out." How did this all start? I couldn't help but inquire as I felt my mom's hand clasp mine. It could be many things, but we assume she had some ailment that got worse because of the cancer and the drugs for her therapy, Dr. Kincaid said. "So what do we do now?" Mom asked, her voice low. "First and foremost, she must undergo surgery to remove the infection and repair the damage. However, before doing another surgery, we want her to recover from the previous one, so she'll be here for a few weeks with antibiotics to fight the infection, and her cancer treatment will be put on hold for the time being, according to Dr. Samuels." "And her chances?" I attempted to ask without my voice shaking. I didn't like how the doctors looked at each other. "I'm going to be honest," Dr. Samuel stated. "She will die if she does not have the procedure. She is currently in a tough place. The strong antibiotics for the infection could disrupt her body's balance and make her weaker, possibly fatal. Weaker, the medication she's taking have prevented the virus from spreading and are fighting it as hard as they can. However, even if it improves, the medications cannot reverse the damage. If there were holes in her gut wall, we'd hurry to surgery right away. However, it was close to tearing when we discovered it, and it may be leaking in places. Going in to look with surgery is almost as dangerous. Touching her insides could damage the vulnerable regions, causing a major issue. We must fight the infection and repair any damage once she is strong enough for surgery. She needs to gain strength. I'm not saying she has to be completely healthy, but she needs to be better first. We go after the cancer again. She became really weak after not eating properly for several months. She can't handle chemo until the infections are gone and her body is functioning properly. Simply having an abdominal infection is extremely harmful when combined with cancer," he shrugged. Dr. Kincaid said that the procedure itself is exceedingly dangerous due to infection and organ damage. She has a 30 to 40% probability of making it. So it's no surgery, no chance, or surgery with a low possibility. "Is this it?" Lily asked, attempting to remain cool despite her fear. Dr. Kincaid affirmed, "That's it. However, once you've had the operation, you should be able to take the chemotherapy. Then it seems like surgery is the only option," Lily stated as she fell back tired. "Okay, we'll get ready," Dr. Samuel stated. They laughed, and Lily began to cry. Mom held her tightly. "Don't worry, Lily. You've got top doctors with you." Lily was crying, and she said, "You'll get through it." I had a lot on my mind and couldn't handle it here. Not long ago, I would have been relieved to learn Lily had passed away, but now I felt completely confused. I get to start school tomorrow, but if you want, I may come see you from time to time, I said. Yes, Michael. I'd enjoy that, Lily cried. Mom smiled up at me. We left, and I escorted Mom to her car, waving as she drove away before heading home. I fulfilled my commitment and went to see Lily several times within the following 2 weeks. We talked about a lot, including my job, the kids at school, my writing, her broken marriage to Carter, and our own failed marriage. We talked about our emotions and the events that got us here. Once I asked her about our family. I'm wondering about something, I said. What is it? Lily wanted to know. Why does your family hate you so much? Mom tried calling them, but they refused to talk to you. You are aware that they fired me following the major lawsuits, correct? Yes, I remember. What you don't know is that they were fine with Carter from the beginning. They agreed to keep you out of the loop, and Carter promised to support them when they were older. He even offered to buy them cruise tickets. Did you and your sister know about all of this? I inquired, furious. Lily glanced away, embarrassed. Yes, she muttered, then looked at me. It was another betrayal. I'm so sorry. So your family used you, and Carter just as you did me, I pointed out. My voice was harsh. She appeared quite sad. I maintained my cool. If I hadn't wanted to know, I shouldn't have asked. Exactly, Lily spoke with regret. Things got really terrible when we faced a lawsuit. We lost everything. Then my family rejected me. That's why they treated me so badly after you left. I explained to her that it made sense that Lily thought it was appropriate to rely on me while waiting for Carter. Everyone seems to get through except me. It also made me realize I couldn't go back to the way we were, not after what she'd done. Lily was aware of this as well and did not attempt to restart the conversation. We did, however, resolve the situation, and now and then, I caught glimpses of the lady I once loved throughout this. I began to feel less furious against her and Carter. After Carter died, I couldn't hate him as much, but I still hoped he got what he deserved for everything he did, particularly to me and Lily. Mr. Smith gave me the day off for Lily's surgery and found someone to cover my class. I arrived at the hospital early that day and spoke with Lily before she underwent surgery. I was quite concerned but attempted to hide it. I know I've spoken some very harsh things since you returned. I apologized for that. I genuinely hope you make it through this, okay? I was surprised at how genuine I felt saying it. Thank you, Michael. This means a lot, Lily said with a slight smile. I deserved your words, so I forgive you, and I apologize for hurting the best man I've ever known. I know we can't go back, but I genuinely love you. You were there for me even when it wasn't necessary. She took a deep breath. Promise me one thing. What? I asked. Find someone to love. You deserve it, she told me with a hopeful look in her eyes that caught me by surprise. She stared at me so hard that I eventually said, I promise I'll try. She gave a slight nod as if making peace with herself. Sir, we need to take her to surgery right now, an orderly said in a kind manner. Sure, I replied, just a second. I bent down quickly and kissed Lily on the cheek. Have you got this? I told her. She smiled back. I froze, stunned for a split second. She looked exactly like she did on our wedding day. A part of me wondered if there were times when she genuinely loved me, and I wasn't just there for the money and to fill a void. I stood up feeling slightly woozy, and the orderly moved her bed out of the room. That was nice, Alex, Mom said softly as we followed the orderly to surgery. They admitted her, and we sat in the waiting area. We were there for hours while the surgery took place. I tried looking at the TV on the wall, but I couldn't concentrate on what it was showing. I couldn't stop thinking about the past 10 years. My thoughts just kept going over it, over and over. As Mom worked on her latest yarn project, I walked back and forth, drinking too much bad coffee from the machine. I couldn't stop thinking about the past months. 6 hours later, Dr. Samuels came out. I didn't like the look on his face right away. He came over and asked us to follow him to a small room. He closed the door after us, sat down, rubbed his eyes, and let out a big sigh. I thought he might cry. Mom squeezed my hand so tight it hurt, and I knew what he was going to say. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Carpenter, Mr. Carpenter." We tried our best with Lily, but there was too much bad stuff and harm inside her. Her body just gave up. She chose not to be kept alive by machines if it came to that, and said we could use her body for cancer study if she didn't survive. Her heart stopped, and despite our efforts, we couldn't get it to start again. "I'm really sorry for your loss." Mom cried hard, and I felt a tear want to come out too, but I kept it in. I hugged Mom as she cried and told the doctor, thanks for all his help. We shook hands, and I saw him cry a little too. After Mom got a bit better, we walked back to Lily's room like we were in a dream. We didn't talk, as we packed up. There was nothing to say. In the drawer, I found an envelope with Alex on it, in Lily's hand. I opened it and took out a note. It was from Lily. In case she didn't make it through, her letter started, "You reading this only if I didn't make it. Thanks for being by my side these last 2 months, the last 2 weeks most of all. You didn't owe me anything, yet you and your mom were here for me when no one else was. What I did to you 10 years ago was very wrong, and I'm so sorry for the hurt I caused. I want you to know that after all this time, I still love you a lot, and I regret what happened because of Carter. I know you can't feel the same, and I understand it. I just hope my passing gives you peace. With all my love, Lily." The note shook in my hand. I saw tears fall on it and knew I was crying. Mom put her hand on my shoulder and asked, "What's wrong?" The tears wouldn't stop. I cried for the first time since Dad passed 6 years ago. Mom cried too after reading Lily's note, and we hugged and cried together. After we calmed down a bit, we kept packing Lily's things. I noticed something: the anger and pain I felt for 10 years was gone, totally gone. For the first time in a long time, I felt calm. My heart went away when Lily died. It was like being stuck in a dark maze, and her passing knocked down a wall, showing me a way out. Oddly, her passing made me feel better. We packed her items, performed the paperwork, and left the hospital feeling numb. I went with Mom to her house and assisted with Lily's affairs, each task a step towards finding closure and acceptance. The sorrow was still present, but it was no longer the consuming force it had been. Instead, there was a strange sense of peace, as if by expressing her remorse and love, Lily had given me one final gift, a chance to start healing, to let go of the past, and to embrace the future with open arms once again. We had a quiet meal of what was left in the fridge, hardly conversing. After cleaning up, Mom gave me a little picture of Lily, smiling in her chair, taken when she started her treatment. "I thought you might want this to remember her," Mom said. "Thanks," I answered, giving her a hug. "Do you want to call her folks or should I?" she asked. Talking to them once was enough for me. "Okay," I said, taking the number she handed me. After another hug, I went home. I contacted Lily's folks when I got there. Her dad picked up after 2 rings. "Howard, it's Alex Carpenter," I said. "What do you want?" he snapped. I was taken aback, wondering why he was so upset. After all, I wasn't the one who stopped helping out. "Lily died today during surgery," I informed him. "I don't have a daughter named Lily," Howard snapped back. "Why are you calling?" "I just thought you should know." "So what do you want from me?"
Do you want us to take the body or something?
No, she donated her body to cancer. Research, I said, trying to remain cool. Well, I suppose her life had some significance in the end, he spoke angrily. Do not call here again. He then hung up. I wanted to phone back and yell, but I knew it wouldn't be effective. I stepped aside and called my boss at his workplace. I'm sorry to hear that, Alex, he told me.
How are you holding up?
Not great, I admitted, but I'll get by.
Why not take the rest of the week off?
I'll pitch it as paid leave for your loss. I will find someone to cover for you. Thanks so much, I said. We hung up, and I got a beer. This one is for you, kid, I said, taking a large sip, gazing at a photo of Mom. Next June, there will be an epilogue. I've always felt uneasy about cemeteries. I suppose that's natural. Anyone who is constantly reminded of death can become disturbed. I parked beneath a large maple tree and walked over. The light shined brightly on the graveyard's main road, but everything appeared drab after I stepped through the ornate metal gates. It was an unusual situation. I discovered the grave quickly. It was newer and cleaner than the others. I sighed upon seeing it. I remembered going to the stone shop with my mother and choosing it. I didn't want to use Williams since I was afraid my ex would make things difficult for me, but the people administering the institution said we had to use Williams because it was on Lily's death certificate. So that is what we did. There are no ghosts yet. There was a small metal tube for flowers near the grave, and I inserted the white flower I brought. The grass was still budding, and the ground was spongy when they were finished. The location that learns from dead corpses cremated Lily's remains and returned them in a simple pot with a thank you letter. After a lot of alcohol, tears, and laughter, Mom and I decided to bury her rather than distribute her ashes. Carter's tomb was in a remote, disorganized section of the cemetery, identified simply by a little concrete block with a number on it. It didn't look good. I had only been there once before after Lily went gone. I poured pee on the dirt where I assumed his head was. If somebody noticed me doing that, I'd have to explain myself. I stood silently for a few moments before saying farewell. I sobbed all my tears last week when only my mother and I were present to see Lily buried. I tried to invite Lily's relatives and friends. I reasoned that if Joe DiMaggio could continue to care for Marilyn Monroe after their divorce, putting flowers on her grave for 20 years, I could do the same for Lily on occasion. The world around me appeared to disappear, and I felt blank, prepared for something fresh. Walking back to my car, I noticed two more folks weeping a few rows over, a woman in a neat dark dress and a young boy dressed in jeans and a large camouflage jacket. The boy sported short brown hair. I didn't mean to bother them, but I found myself stepping over to the tomb they were visiting. Eric Thompson, Sergeant in the United States Marine Corps, September 9, 1990 to September 10, 2022, husband, father, and Marine, he will be missed much. There were emblems representing bravery and being injured in battle. The woman looked up in surprise, her eyes were really blue. Sorry, I replied, I did not mean to bother you. The boy spoke before she could, saying, I really miss him. His eyes were even more blue than hers, he must have been like his father. I knelt and dug into my pocket, took out my small book and pen, which I preferred to using my phone's note app, and handed them over. Here, kid, write him a message and tell him you can make it small and place it in the crack by the stone. I bet he'll notice. He hugged me, took the book and pen, and started writing. I stood up, and his mother gave me a heartfelt thank you. Right then, I heard some soft laughs, a woman's and a man's, one each ear. Then the lady's voice said, keep your word. I was confident that June would no longer be a bad month for me. Thank you for listening to today's stories. If you enjoyed listening, Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also write a comment below with your thoughts on what transpired. Take care.